I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea.
North Korea has a record of controlling what information its citizens have access to and what goes out to the public. The government of the country is, therefore, not very happy about some of the videos that have made it out of the country and onto the internet. These videos tell us only part of what goes on in the whole nation, though, but it's appalling enough. They have exposed how ruthlessly the authoritarian government rules the state. Let's see 20 of those videos North Korea definitely would love to have deleted from the internet. Number 20. Bizarre military training. A recent internet-shared video showcased the training of North Korean male soldiers, and the guys are quite resilient. The video offers a glimpse into their rigorous preparation, from practicing extreme martial arts to enduring intense physical challenges. They're seen having bricks broken on their heads, lying on broken glass, bending iron bars with their necks, and even executing impressive acrobatic moves. All this while, the supreme leader watches with delight, applauding the feats. These techniques find their roots in North Korean ideology and a strong sense of societal loyalty. The government places immense value on discipline and obedience, considering these qualities essential for both survival and maintaining state power. This intensive training serves multiple purposes. It molds soldiers' mindsets and physical attributes to align with the regime's goals. Furthermore, these methods serve as a form of psychological conditioning. The system aims to bolster soldiers' resilience and unwavering commitment, pushing them to their limits both physically and mentally. This approach also ensures their allegiance and effectiveness in executing the regime's directives. The belief is that soldiers who have endured rigorous training will be better prepared to handle challenges, whether in combat situations or other incidents that may arise. However, considering North Korea's possession of nuclear weapons, it's quite likely that their focus would be more on utilizing advanced weaponry rather than relying solely on physical combat skills. Number 19. Empty airport. Pyongyang-Sunan International Airport is supposedly North Korea's busiest airport, but in this footage, it's practically empty. It's no surprise that the airport is spick and span, as official reports suggest. However, it's important to note that citizens of the country have severely restricted travel within the country, let alone internationally. The tight border control measures aren't just for show. Attempting to cross the border is a perilous endeavor, often resulting in risking one's life to escape. And the same stringent rules apply to foreign visitors. Entry into North Korea is closely monitored, and only a handful of people manage to get in. Pyongyang's airport mainly accommodates two airlines: North Korea's official carrier, Air Koryo, and Air China. In 2019, travel blogger Jordan Simmons documented his journey out of the country in a YouTube vlog.
I am the only one in the airport right now. There's no one here.
And it's as unusual as you might imagine. The footage shows the airport completely devoid of people. It's a surreal experience and raises the question of why the government invested so much in constructing such a massive airport when they don't allow many people to use it. In a country where time and resources are limited, the funds used for this grand airport could have been better directed toward the well-being of North Korean citizens. However, it appears that the government's priorities lie elsewhere. Number 18. A swimming escape. In 2021, a man attempting a daring escape from North Korea was captured in a video. He jumped into the water and swam towards freedom sporting a wetsuit. This unnamed individual reportedly swam for around 6 hours in his bid to escape. His clever strategy was that he went unseen by maritime authorities, making it impossible for them to chase him down. This kind of accomplishment truly deserves commendation. Making it to South Korea was no easy feat, especially considering he had to traverse the famous demilitarized zone called DMZ that separates North and South Korea. Despite the absence of overt conflict, the DMZ is known to be one of the most heavily guarded regions globally. Both countries have stationed military personnel there to ensure that any border crossings or treaty breaches are dealt with swiftly. The potential dangers this swim entailed were massive, with both countries' troops present, and any unauthorized crossing could be met with severe consequences. Luckily for this determined individual, he successfully reached his destination. Since South Korea doesn't have a law that deports visitors from North Korea, he seems to have found the freedom he was so desperately seeking. Number 17. Child labor. There's a heart-wrenching video that depicts a young boy shackled and laboring on a railway without proper tools on the internet. He's chained, unable to move freely, and is essentially doing every one of his duties manually. It's incredibly sad to witness, especially considering that these kids are likely not even 10 years old. They're forced to toil for hours on end on infrastructure projects when they should be in school, learning alongside their peers. To make matters worse, they don't even receive any form of payment for their work. In another video from years ago, boys as young as 11 were shown shoveling snow at a ski resort allegedly owned by Kim Jong-un. In freezing temperatures, they were there just to maintain the appearance of the supreme leader's resort. As far back as 2016, reports indicated that approximately 1.1 million children in North Korea were being compelled to work, masked as part of a so-called dating team. What's truly distressing is that they endure not just physical labor, but also severe psychological abuse. Soldiers and overseers subject them to sessions of self-criticism and ideological indoctrination. This means they not only put in up to 10 hours of labor under the scorching sun, but are also subjected to harsh words that further exacerbate their already challenging circumstances. Number 16. Border smugglers. Smuggling is a long-standing practice, and in a country like isolated and impoverished North Korea, it's no surprise that it's a lucrative venture. This video offers a glimpse into these smugglers' operations. Interestingly, these smugglers are said to be North Korean citizens who venture out of the country to places like China and neighboring nations. Once there, they purchase goods that are prohibited in North Korea and bring them back in. It's a clever market these smugglers have tapped into. With various products banned within North Korea, there's a demand waiting to be met. The smugglers source these forbidden items from nearby countries and then sell them to the people within their own nation. In one clip, you'll even see an armed soldier aiding in covering their tracks. Given the challenging circumstances faced by even North Korean soldiers, it's not unlikely that bribing them to assist in smuggling activities would be feasible. It's a case of resourcefulness in pursuit of making some quick money. Number 15. Anti-American propaganda. The indoctrination in North Korea runs incredibly deep. The government employs massive propaganda campaigns to fuel citizens' hatred towards many countries, but majorly America. One such video portrays Americans as impoverished and uncivilized, showing scenes of people supposedly living in dire conditions, huddled together next to body bags, sipping snow-filled coffee cups and living on the streets. The irony is thick here, considering that the country itself faces food scarcity, and its citizens are desperate to escape. It's rather rich for a government to depict another country as struggling when its own people are risking their lives to leave. If only the North Korean government showed the positive aspects of America, it might actually inspire more individuals to consider crossing the border in pursuit of freedom. It's quite astonishing to witness Kim Jong-un and his associates resort to such tactics to paint another nation in a negative light. It's a clear sign that a country isn't doing well when it feels the need to resort to such measures. The lengths they go to manipulate perceptions are indeed revealing of their own vulnerabilities. Number 14. The homeless family. North Korea is widely recognized as a relatively impoverished country, but its government has gone to great lengths to combat this reality with an extensive propaganda machine. It's fascinating how a mere video can paint a different picture, making life in North Korea seem appealing. However, they are not doing anything to tackle the root problem. This particular video captures a woman and her son who share their story. They reveal that they grapple with extreme poverty, resorting to daily food foraging and sneaking out at night to avoid getting caught and sent to labor camps. For context, this is a woman from North Korea's capital city, Pyongyang. Just imagining her circumstances makes you wonder about the even more challenging conditions that people in less prominent cities might face. It's a stark reminder of the complexities that exist beneath the surface in a country like North Korea. Number 13. Prison camps. This video sheds light on the harsh and horrifying realities of North Korea's prison camps. It exposes one of the most sinister aspects of the oppressive regime. These political prison camps, known as Kwanliso, are infamous for their brutal living conditions, merciless treatment of inmates, and utter disregard for basic human rights. Here, we're confronted with the grim truths of life within these camps. The footage unveils a desolate field, enclosed by towering gates and guarded by armed personnel. The conditions endured by those imprisoned here are beyond bearable. Many are held for political reasons or due to suspicions of disloyalty to the state. Inside the camps, the situation is dire. Access to food, clean water, and medical care is severely limited. Overcrowding and unsanitary conditions are rampant, leading to malnutrition and illness that takes a toll on both physical and emotional well-being. Inadequate hygiene contributes to the spread of diseases and further erodes any sense of human dignity. Yet the horrors within these camps extend beyond the dire circumstances. Torture, forced labor, and widespread abuse are sadly commonplace. Inmates endure beatings, sexual assaults, and coerced confessions, among other forms of physical and psychological torment. The goal is to break their will, instill fear, and enforce complete compliance with the government's ideology. Number 12. Starving children. In this video shot at an orphanage in Haeju City, children are seen sitting in a row, visibly hungry. And there's even a little girl with marks on her body which are reportedly a sign of disease. Considering the lack of access to medical supplies, she must be enduring so much pain. During this time, when food is scarce and farmland is nearly barren, famine becomes a major crisis in North Korea. Unlike other countries that could import food to alleviate the situation, the North Korean government has imposed significant import restrictions. This leaves regular citizens struggling to survive on their own. What's even more disheartening is that while this struggle persists, Kim Jong-un and his ruling party members continue to live in luxury, spending millions on extravagant items and indulging themselves while others suffer. It's a glaring contrast. The extravagant lifestyles of the few in power against the harsh reality faced by ordinary people. The irony is further underscored by wasteful spending on grand airports that see minimal use. Number 11. Three-generation punishment rule. This video uncovers a cruel policy of the North Korean government that goes beyond just punishing the accused. It extends its repercussions to span generations, delivering an appalling blow to humanity. The chilling consequences that those labeled as enemies of the state face are vividly portrayed in the footage. Families are made to endure heart-wrenching separations, with their children destined for a lifetime of suffering. Not only are the supposed wrongdoers held accountable for their alleged actions, but their parents and children also find themselves ensnared in the cycle of retribution. This regime's drive to maintain absolute control over its subjects fuels the origins of these multi-generational punishment rules. This program aims to eradicate any potential threats to the government. It seeks to instill fear and stamp out dissent by setting an example. In this climate of fear and survival, parents are thrust into the complex role of upholding the system. Some may be coerced or pressured to tell on their relatives or participate in community policing. Amidst an environment dominated by fear, this tragic dynamic highlights the immense psychological and emotional toll that living under such harsh conditions exacts on individuals and families. Number 10. Hatred for America. North Korea and the United States have a long-standing history of strained relations. While the country initially just painted the U.S. as a poor country with starving citizens, North Korea's animosity has now reached a point where even military training exercises carry an American twist. In this video, there's a montage of North Korean military officers engaged in training. They're firing at targets that have been set up to resemble American soldiers, to be precise. The helmet on the target is seen to bear the insignia of the U.S. Army. It's quite striking to see this level of antipathy. Not only is the North Korean government propagating negative views about America to its citizens, but they're also actively training their military personnel to harbor animosity and to be prepared to act on it. It's a stark example of the kind of indoctrination and manipulation that the North Korean government employs. If they're so openly demonstrating their disdain for the U.S. in training exercises, it makes you wonder about the extent of propaganda they might be disseminating through their state television news and other channels. It's a glimpse into the tactics they use to influence their population's perceptions and attitudes. Number 9. Empty government hotels. This grand hotel claims to be the world's largest and most luxurious, standing proudly in the sunlight and drawing visitors from all corners. However, behind its glossy exterior lies an eerily empty shell that's anything but magnificent. Despite its appearance, this video shows that the massive masterpiece is nothing more than a hollow illusion. It apparently doesn't draw anything but dust, even with its grandeur. This hotel in North Korea is known to be bustling with life at one point. Now it stands deserted, and there are several reasons for its emptiness. It seems mismanagement and construction flaws played a part. Structural issues likely prevented occupancy despite its impressive facade. In North Korea, aesthetics often take precedence over durability, leading to problems down the line. Economic factors also loom large. With international sanctions and limited resources, North Korea's economic struggles would make running such a large luxury hotel a challenging endeavor that discouraged investment. Number 8. Power cut every night. This city is blanketed in darkness, with flickering streetlights and houses engulfed by the night. North Korean citizens grapple with this somber reality every day as the sun sets. The sole source of illumination in their home becomes candlelight, as they experience power outages. These candles cast eerie shadows on families gathered in the absence of electricity. Routine tasks like studying and cooking become arduous in these conditions. The daily lives of people are profoundly impacted by these recurrent power outages. These instances starkly remind us of the scarce resources at the disposal of North Korean citizens. The dilapidated state of infrastructure stems from the regime's misplaced priorities, favoring military prowess and self-preservation. The video acts as a symbol of the regime's failure to fulfill the basic needs of its populace. Towns and cities grapple with weakened infrastructure, adapting to a life veiled in darkness, and we don't know why nothing gets done about it. Number 7. No desks or chairs in schools. Schools, often hailed as the foundation of a promising future through education, play a pivotal role in shaping young minds and equipping them for success. However, the reality within North Korean schools tells a troubling tale in this isolated and closely regulated nation. The North Korean education system grapples with significant challenges, and one glaring issue that both students and educators confront daily is the absence of basic learning furnishings. In an environment devoid of desks or chairs, effective teaching and learning become a struggle. Students find themselves sitting on the floor, hunched over their textbooks, attempting to grasp lessons despite the discomfort and weariness. Imagine North Korean classrooms where sitting cross-legged on a cold, hard floor is the norm. Hours pass in this position as students persevere in their studies. What's more, the onus falls on parents to provide desks and chairs, a financial responsibility that adds to the burden of families already grappling with poverty and economic hardships in a nation where such challenges are widespread. Number 6. Extreme interrogations. In this video, we're seeing an interrogation room clip that leaked a few years ago. You can see a prison guard questioning a woman who's been detained. She had apparently been caught attempting to cross a river and escape to China. While we don't know exactly what they're discussing, the sheer terror on the woman's face speaks volumes. She likely knew the severe consequences of her actions and was probably already picturing the grim fate that awaited her inside that prison, or if they would decide to end her life. In another video, a man is being interrogated with his back to the guard, who's angrily shouting at him. His hands are tied behind him and he's blindfolded. The writing on the video suggests that the man had been imprisoned simply for tearing up a photo of Kim Jong-un. Well, we all know how touchy Kimmy can be about that. And then there's yet another video featuring a woman being interrogated. She too was caught trying to escape to China. The guard in front of her is audibly threatening her life. These glimpses into the interrogation process shed a haunting light on the severe consequences faced by those who dare to challenge the regime or attempt to escape its clutches. Now it's time for today's subscribers to pick for today. Take a look at this disheartening scene. The fatigued and probably tortured woman is being put inside a barrel. No one knows what she did. We can see the tears and blood on her clothes. Proof that she had been punished severely before now. Is the barrel supposed to be a prison, or does it lead to something even worse? Also, this could have taken place in a North Korean prison camp, but we are not certain. The soldiers look like they pity the woman, but we're at a loss for what to do, which is quite sad. Do you know where this picture was taken from, or have an idea of what the woman had done to face such a cruel fate? Let's know in the comment section. Number 5. Recorded defector. Back in 2017, a gripping video captured the scene as a member of the North Korean military made a daring escape across the border. The individual, whose name wasn't provided, seemed to have had enough of life in his homeland. Fueled by frustration, he decided to take matters into his own hands and flee. The guy hopped into a military jeep and initiated his escape. As soon as he was in the car, a chase ensued. Other soldiers raced after him, even firing shots in his direction. The situation grew tense. Eventually, he crashed the vehicle into a tree but managed to escape from it. His pursuers were still hot on his trail. Remarkably, luck seemed to favor this determined individual. Against all odds, he somehow managed to reach the South Korean border and successfully cross it. He became the third soldier from North Korea to flee that year alone, making his escape a testament to his determination and luck. It's quite telling when even a country's own soldiers are willing to risk their lives just to leave. It raises questions about the severity of conditions within that nation. Number 4. Human waste as fertilizer. A disturbing reality lurks behind North Korea's agricultural practices. The nation's crops are nurtured using human waste as a form of fertilizer. This video paints an unsettling picture that challenges conventional farming methods. Amid persistent food shortages and scarce resources, North Korea has taken the unconventional route of employing human feces to enhance agricultural output. The footage shows individuals collecting and transporting human waste to fields, where it's meticulously spread on the soil. It's a scene that's both shocking and astonishing, reflecting the harsh conditions and resource limitations that the country grapples with. This unique approach arises from a place of desperation, prompted by economic difficulties and a faltering agricultural economy. While using human waste as fertilizer might provide a short-term boost to crop productivity, it raises serious concerns about the long-term impacts on human health and the environment. The video compels us to confront the moral dilemmas and adverse outcomes of this practice. The use of human excrement as fertilizers raises questions about the safety and hygiene of the crops consumed. The practice underscores the extent of North Korea's agricultural challenges and the lack of access to more sustainable and environmentally friendly alternatives.
As you can see, it's a dark, rich, humus material.
Number 3. Public court proceedings. In a setting resembling a military barracks, a multitude of curious young North Koreans were tightly packed together. An eerie silence enveloped the room when a stern soldier suddenly emerged, taking on the role of announcing the alleged crimes committed by these youths. Choices were irrelevant here, only trials held significance. Amidst the palpable tension, the soldier commenced the enumeration of charges against the defendant. The defendant's demeanor appeared to convey a mixture of fear, resignation, and a faint glimmer of hope for leniency. However, the unfolding scenario didn't adhere to the conventional courtroom model. No opportunity for defense or cross-examination was granted. The individuals involved seemed stripped of their humanity, reduced to mere instruments in the regime's unyielding pursuit. This is an infringement of the defendant's human rights in the courtroom, but no one seemed to care. The word uttered by the soldier reverberated throughout the barracks, impacting them like a blunt force. The revelations of errors, betrayals, and secrets sent a wave of gasps echoing through the audience, leaving an air thick with shock and collective disbelief. The atmosphere felt suffocating, like an overbearing weight had enveloped the space. Observers are left pondering the circumstances that led these North Korean youths into such a harrowing ordeal. Regardless of the cause, though, their future now rested within the grasp of a government that tolerated no dissent and prized conformity as its highest virtue. Number 2. Woman directing fake traffic. Let's take a look at this woman tasked with running the fake traffic scene in North Korea. The country has a unique way of making its citizens play various roles to present a facade of normalcy. In downtown Pyongyang, the streets might appear bustling at first glance. When a cameraman starts recording the traffic controller immediately springs into action, or at least pretends to. She starts blowing her whistle and waving her flag, but it's quite clear that her efforts don't affect the flow of cars. People continue to go about their business, crossing the street as they normally would, regardless of her gestures. It's almost as if she's playing a part in a scripted performance. Interestingly, North Korea doesn't require genuine traffic control officers. The country has a very low number of cars, and it's a rare sight to spot vehicles on the roads. This is why many individuals, including soldiers, often resort to hitchhiking. In fact, cars are so scarce that you might even see children using the empty streets as playgrounds. It's a unique and surreal scenario that highlights the contrast between the country's orchestrated appearances and its actual day-to-day realities. Number 1. Zhu Xianjiang's prison escape. A North Korean man named Zhu Xinjiang was caught on camera making a daring escape from a prison in China. The footage shows him scaling a prison shed, climbing onto the roof, and leaping over an electric fence to freedom. Zhu had initially been incarcerated on charges of illegally entering China, as well as robbery and theft. In China, illegal immigrants are treated as criminals, which is how he ended up behind bars. What's intriguing is that Zhu had only 2 years left in his 11-year prison sentence. He had already served 9 years, however. Once his prison term was up, he was set to be sent back to North Korea. Essentially, he escaped because he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he managed to avoid capture, he'd be free. If he got caught, he'd just end up in another Chinese prison. Either way, he wouldn't have to be returned to North Korea soon. Surprisingly, Zhu chose to remain a prisoner in a foreign and relatively unfriendly land instead of returning as a free man to his own country. The authorities launched an extensive manhunt to track him down, which lasted around 40 days. Eventually, they managed to recapture him in a nearby village. Here are so many things happening in North Korea we will never get to know, but the glimpse we have gotten into the lifestyle of the citizens is demoralizing, to say the least. Unfortunately, if nothing is done, this will continue to be the case for decades to come. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.